Okay, gonna do a tutorial and review on the Precise Plus from Super T Manufacturing. Okay, this is a USA made mod here, and this is, in this particular one, the finish is polished stainless steel top cap, a brushed stainless steel tube, and a polished stainless steel switch. Okay, now the contacts on this are either brass or copper. I'm not really 100% sure on that, and I looked it up and I couldn't find it. So it is a highly conductive material, whichever one is probably the highest conductive is what it's going to be. But the reason why I don't know is because you can't see them. Okay, they are covered with iridium, which basically protects that highly conductive material underneath so that there is no more corrosion. And what they say here basically about the contacts is that it's precious metal rhodium and gold plated contacts on the switch, battery, and atomizer connections. Precious metals are extremely resistant to corrosion and oxidation. No more sanding and no more nail-locks. Okay, it's harder, faster, it hits harder, faster, and consistently. Okay, so basically what that means is that you cannot sand the contacts. If you sand the contacts, you will take the plating off of it. Okay, one good thing about Super T is that they have a transferable lifetime warranty. What that means is that if you buy one used and it has a scratch on it, you can send it to them and they will make it like brand new, free of charge. They don't ask you any questions. They don't want to see your receipt. So if you have a Precise or anything from Super T Manufacturing that is lifetime warranted, no worries about it. It's going to look like brand new for a lifetime. Okay, if you get a scratch on it, you need to send it in for any other reason, you just pay to ship to them, and I just put $5 in the envelope so that they can ship it back to you. So you pay to and from shipping, of course. Okay, which could be expected because they're offering an awesome service free of charge. Okay, so just show you guys how this thing hits, and then I'll explain a little bit more why I have the 18650 and why it's, in my opinion, the best mechanical mod that you can get as far as the battery size goes. Okay, I'm not currently set up for blasting, but I'm just kind of taking a little break from that at the moment. But this one here is the best type of mod because you can get an MNKE 18650, and that's the smallest battery that MNKE makes at the moment. Okay, and the reason why I'm boasting MNKE batteries is because they are safely rated to handle a maximum of 30 watts. Okay, so if you go with an 18500 or you go with an 18350 mechanical PV, you're basically at the mercy of your battery. You can't go up to a certain amount of watts. Now with the 18650 AWIMR, I was told you can go up to 20 watts. Don't quote me on that, do your own research. But with the Panasonics, I know that because I've asked the manufacturer personally, what is the safe wattage range of that battery, and that is 10 watts. So the MNKE 18650 will triple that. Okay, so that's the whole reason why every single mechanical mod I get, it has to take an 18650. Otherwise, you might as well go buy something with some electronics. Mostly everything out there can go up to 10 watts and you have electronics, so there really is no need to go caveman style with a mechanical mod and not have an ohms tester, not have a battery level indicator, and not be able to adjust your power on the fly. Okay, with that being said, the MNKE does not go below 20 watts. It's 20 watts continuous, so you will have a little bit of fluctuation right there at the end, but the good part about that is that you don't really need a battery indicator with that. Okay, so as soon as you start to feel like the battery's dying, the battery is dying, then you just throw it on the charger and pop another one in there. Okay, so here is going to be the switch. I'm going to take this atomizer off. here is going to be the switch. It has a spring built in, but the spring doesn't have anything to do with electrical contacts. That is just to bring the switch back to the neutral position when you're done pressing it, okay? So this can come off. And right here is your contact that hits the battery. And it's going to come with some washers. And those washers allow you to adjust for battery depth. Also, speaking of battery depth, underneath the battery, it comes with 3 O-rings. There's some fatter O-rings and some thinner O-rings, and you just put the O-rings in there so you don't get no play in the battery, and so that you just have some tension when you're tightening down the top cap, okay? The battery does not come out from the bottom. There is an edge in there so that it won't come down through there. So if you have to take your switch off, you're okay. So let me finish up on the switch. The switch can come apart further. Okay, it just comes out of that, and then you can see there the locking ring. Okay, it's got a P on the bottom there. No venting needed at the bottom because it's on the tube, and then you just slide that guy over. That is your lock, and it has some detents in there so that it locks in. But you can actually push this further and the lock can come out, but it's pretty hard to do that, but it is a possibility, so keep that in mind. Just kind of a controlled slide, and you should be fine every time. Okay. Alright. And so on to the next parts. So that's a solid connection there at the bottom with that switch, and then at the top there's also a solid connection. This is the top of the connector. There's where the positive pin of the battery goes. You can use flat tops, you can use button tops. Okay, that is also iridium coated, and the same thing goes there for the pin, the center pin. Now you can't adjust this center pin, which is kind of a bummer, and that's the reason why I had to send mine in, but it did have a scratch too, so I killed 2 birds with 1 stone. They just moved it forward. They put a press on there and pressed this out so that my connection was a little further forward, okay? So that's just what had to be done with mine. Not all of them are going to be like that. Okay, so here's the battery I'm using. Now this PV in itself is a pretty heavy device. Okay, so I'm going to get my scale out next and show you guys what the weight of this is by itself. It does actually make my fingers kind of sore from holding it because I don't want to set it down and have it fall over. That's one negative I will say about this, is that this isn't a fully flat bottom. You're basically only being held in place by this little round switch. Okay, so it does stand up on its own, but it just makes me nervous. Okay, whenever I put this spring back on here, I just let it overlap the switch. And if you had one in hand, you'll know what I was talking about there, but yeah, gonna give me problems when I'm recording a video now. What's happening? My spring is giving me crap. Another negative I can say about this is that the spring does catch on stuff. I mean, it catches on something. There's a small little hang up in there, and it's not the hugest deal, but for the people that like perfectly smooth switches to a certain point, it's kind of hard to get with this. But it doesn't bug me enough that I don't want to use it, you know. Okay, there we go. So there's that. Let me break the scale out with a battery. I guess this isn't the most. Let me just read off without a battery, and then with the atomizer. A lot of people have the AGAT, so okay. Without a battery, it is 3 1/4 ounces. Okay, so not too terribly bad on its own. The threads on this thing are silky smooth too. Okay, with the battery, 4 5/8 of an ounce. And then if you put the atomizer on there, which is empty, it doesn't have any juice in it really to speak of. It weighs in at exactly 7 ounces. Now, if I put a little bit of juice on there just to compare, that's more juice that will fit in there to fill it. That's probably about 15 mils, well, about 12 mils or so. That makes it 7 5/8. So it is a heavy little monster. My thumb gets kind of tired from holding it like this, or at least my left thumb was sore yesterday. I didn't realize what it was until I started using it. So, but this is a really solid PV as far as mechanical devices go. This is what I would say probably third tier as far as quality goes. It would be my third choice. Okay, next choice up would be the Caravella, of course in 18650 mode, and then also the next one up from that, from what I understand anyway, is going to be the person that sells the DID. He just came out with something, and I don't know how to pronounce it. Poliac is the best way that I could think to pronounce it, but the Poliac is supposed to be even better than the Caravella. So if you're wanting to get into it and you're wanting to get a nice solid one that's a little bit cheaper, you can find this on the classified. I got this one for $150, so for the performance it was definitely worth the money. Brand new. They are, let me look it up real quick so I'm sure to give you guys the right information. The wait time is 1 week, by the way. And where's the 650? There it is. It is $179. So, you know, you can get $30 off. You might be able to get a little bit more if you find somebody that's hard up and having a little bit of trouble selling them. But anything off on something that's lifetime warranty is a great deal. Okay, you can get $10 off and just be happy with that, because you're always going to have a brand new PV. When I sent this thing in, it was scratched up, and when I got it back, it worked better and it looked like it just rolled off the assembly line, okay, so to speak. So, you know, you can't go wrong with getting one of these. If I have to compare it to something like a telescope, like a Smoke-Tech telescope, I would say that it's definitely built a lot better. There is no wobbly threads, no squeaky threads. It basically hits just a little bit better, but it's really not enough to actually classify it as like a must-have over a Smoke-Tech telescope. Okay, if money is an issue, you will get by just fine with a Smoke-Tech telescope or something like it, but you're not going to have that quality, and you're always going to wish that you had went ahead and made that step, because the resale value on a Smoke-Tech telescope in the classifieds is not going to be near as good as the resale value on something like this. Meaning, if you buy this and then you decide you don't like it and you want to go resell it, you're going to lose a lot less money. Okay, so, you know, take that as you will. Everybody has reasons why they do things personally, so hopefully I can be able to help some of you guys out. Alright, thanks a lot for watching. Fact, on the Precise Plus tutorial and review, I forgot to mention what is a really important thing here. Once I first got this thing in the mail, I thought that basically I got the shaft, and instead of it, because it was a classified ad, but instead of it being a 18650 mod, I thought, well, I got the shaft and I got a 14500. You know, I just, basically what that means is that the size of this is just incredible. Here is a broken Segele Z-Max. Okay. that fits right inside there. I hope I don't scratch my size. Okay, so that's going to show you how thin it is. Okay, it's still built really solid. Here is the height. Okay, there's a lot to be said there because there is a lot in between the switch and the battery here. I've got 2 O-rings in there so that the top cap screws on to where it's almost all the way down, but then it gets snug, so then you gotta squash the rubber O-rings on the bottom of the battery so that the battery doesn't move around in there and you get good solid connections. Okay, and then also you have the movement of the switch on this, which also makes it a little bit taller. But where the big difference is the thickness. Okay, and I can probably show it better that way. Hopefully you guys can see that sufficiently. I know that light might actually hinder the situation, so let's see if this helps. Okay, this thing is like a baby in comparison. That doesn't say anything about the quality. The quality is top notch. Okay. Alright. That's going to do it. I just wanted to add that to the video. Thanks for watching.